Hey guys, today we're going to learn about surface area of prisms. We're really going to be looking at nets of these shapes, and we're going to talk about what is lateral surface area and what is total surface area. So let's look at the very top. So it says total surface area is the area of all the faces added together, including the base or bases. And we'll talk more about that here in a little bit. Hopefully you watched the first video so that I can show you like what the nets look like. And then lateral surface area is the area of all the faces added together, not including the base or bases. So let's talk about the steps to find surface area. Well, based off of the word area, you're still going to need your formula chart. So if you don't have that, make sure you do have it. Step one, you're going to identify the base and its shape. So we'll talk more here in a moment about how to identify the base. Then you're going to write the area formula for the bases and the faces. So the base is like it's not always what the shape sits on, but it's in the name of the shape. And like I said, we'll talk more about it here in a little bit. And then the faces are like the other sides of the shape. And then the last step, you'll never guess, you're going to substitute the numbers. So you're going to substitute in, and then in this case, you're going to, solve for the areas, and then you'll add the areas. So if it's lateral surface area, you don't add the bases. But if it's total surface area, you add everything together. So I'm going to start with this first one here. It says to find the surface area of the rectangular prism below. Now, like I said earlier, the base is in the name of the shape. So the bases in the prism, in this rectangular prism, I should say, are rectangles. And I'm just going to go ahead and highlight them or just kind of outline them in blue. Usually when it's opened, like when you unfold, I should say, a 3D shape, it's going to be like the flaps. That's kind of what I call them, is the flaps. So these two right here are the bases. So we have two bases and then 1, 2, 3, 4 faces. So let's go ahead and a trick that I do when finding this is that I just label them by the alphabet. So I do A, B, C, D. And so I do these ones first because if it's lateral surface area, I just add those 4. If I need total surface area, then I have to add the bases. So E and then F. And then right here where it says bases, off to the side, I'm going to write A, B, C, D, E, and then F. So I know that for lateral surface area, I'm just going to add A, B, C, and D. So anyways, let's go back and look at this. So to find the area of these shapes, it's a rectangle. Well, the area formula for a rectangle is just simply base times height. So I'm just going to write it right here where it says bases, and I'm going to put BH. So I need to figure out these numbers, like what all my numbers are. So looking at A, that one's pretty straightforward. I see that I have a measurement of 15 and 15. So I'm just going to do 15 times 15. So I'm going to do that, 15 times 15. And that gives me 225. And the nice part about this is when you fold it into each other, A and C are going to have the same answer. So I'm just going to write for C 225. And yes, it's 225 centimeters squared, but we'll do that at the very end. All right, so let's take a look at B and C. So there are no numbers associated with B and C, but what we're going to do is like visualize, if we were to fold this, what those numbers would be. And also on top of that, we know that this measurement right here of 15 centimeters we know properties of rectangles. So if it's 15 centimeters on the left, it's going to be 15 centimeters all the way down. Okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and write 15 right here. And then I need one more number because obviously we have to do base times height. So if I look right up at the top, I see this measurement of 33 centimeters. And again, we also, we know properties of rectangles. So if it's 33 centimeters at the top, it's going to be 33 centimeters all the way down. It's not just magically going to change sizes. So this is 33 right here. So again, we're doing base times height. So we would do 33 times 15, and that would give us the answer for B and D, because those two are going to have the same measurements. So if you multiply those two numbers together, you get 495. So B has a area of 495 centimeters squared, just like D has a surface area of 495 centimeters squared. Now, I'm going to pause right here because for lateral surface area, we have to add these numbers up because lateral surface area does not include the bases. So I would do 225, and I'm just going to use the space, the empty space over here. So we could do 225 times 2, or you can add. It honestly doesn't matter, just whatever way you find easier. So if you add these two up, you get 450. And then we would have to do the same for the 495. So you could do 495 plus 495. And you get 990. Okay? So now, again, we have to add those numbers up just to get lateral surface area. So there's just a lot of multiplying and adding when it comes to this, but it's pretty straightforward. So for lateral, I'm going to do 450 plus 990. So if I add those two up, I get 1,440 centimeters squared. And I am going to separate this just real quick by color, just so that we can see the difference between these. Oops, let's try that again. Straight line, straight line. There we go. Okay, so that's lateral surface area. Now I'm going to find the total surface area. So that means I have to go back and I'm going to use this number from lateral surface area, but I have to find the area of my bases. So I know that I have this measurement of 33 centimeters that I can use for E and F, because like I said, if it's 33 centimeters up here, oh, that's magic. If it's 33 centimeters up here, it's 33 centimeters all the way down. So I can use that for both. But then what's that last number? Well, in this case, and pay attention to what do you see this purple that I'm doing right here? These two edges, when you fold them up, they're going to touch each other. So that what that means is that the last measurement is going to be 15 centimeters as well. Okay? So we've already done 33 times 15. We did that earlier when we found B and D. So I'm just going to use those numbers again. So base times height. But in this case, it's going to be 495 for both the bases. So again, we would add those up, and the area of the two bases is 990. Now, to find total surface area, like I said, you have to do lateral surface area, which we did right here, which is the 1,440 centimeters squared. And then you're going to add the area of your bases to it. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that real quick. So I have 1,440 plus, and like I said, we did 495 plus 495 earlier, and that is 990. So I'm going to add those two, and I get 0, 3, carry the 1, 4, carry the 1 again. So it's 2,430 centimeters squared. And that's it. So if it's asking for lateral surface area, you would just stop and you wouldn't find the area of the bases. If it's asking for total surface area, you would find, all the areas and add them up together. All right? So this is for a rectangular prism. Remember, the shape of the base is in the name. So if it's a rectangular prism, the base is a rectangle. Let's take a look at this next shape. So it says to find the surface area of the triangular prism below. So like I just said, the shape of the base is in the name. So if it says triangular prism, the shape of your base is a triangle. So I'm going to highlight those or outline them in blue. And I wasn't certain about like what number to use. We need one more number. And so I just want you to write down that 6 inches right there. Because it didn't tell us that this triangular prism, like the base was an equilateral triangle. So I just went ahead and added another number. So put 6 inches right here, okay? So we're gonna kind of follow that same process where I'm gonna label all the shapes first. So the bases, like I just said, the shape of the base or bases is in the name. So the triangles are the bases. A prism has 2 bases. All right, so we're gonna find the lateral faces first. So I'm gonna label them A, B, and C. So there's only 3 faces. And then I'm gonna do D and E for the bases. So off to the side here again, we have A, B, C, D, and E. So we have just one extra like space for work. Okay, so let's go ahead and find the faces, A, B, and C, because we're going to do lateral surface area first. Now I notice that they are all rectangles. So I'm going to use the formula A equals BH, base times height. So that's pretty easy. We're just going to multiply the numbers, and that's our answer. So looking at A, we have, oops, highlighter, where are you? There you are. We have 8, but then I'm missing this measurement right here. Well, if we reference like I showed you with the rectangular prism, and I'll highlight or I'll color this in purple. So this 6 inches, if we were to fold it over, oops, it would touch here. So these corners would touch each other right here. And that tells me that this is going to be 6. So I'm going to put 6 right here. Well, all I have to do is just base times height. So 6 times 8 gives us 48. And on this one, you can't really assume that our numbers are the same. So like A and C may not be the same. So we're going to just keep going. So let's take a look at B. So like I was saying, if we know properties of rectangles, so if this is 8 up at the very top, it's going to be 8 all the way down. So I know I'm going to use that measurement of 8 for this base here. And then I see that I have 4 right here. So I'm just going to do 8 times 4, which gives me 32. And then for C, we're going to assume that this triangle is actually an isosceles triangle. So we're going to say that this is 6 as well. So just like with A, so we have this edge and this edge. So these vertices or corners, whatever you want to call them, would touch each other. So we would also use the measurement of 6. Now, like I just said, if it's 8 up top, it's going to be 8 all the way down because we know properties of rectangles. So again, we're going to do 6 times 8, which gives us 48. And I'm going to stop right there because to find lateral surface area, you only need the faces, not the bases. So we would add these numbers together. So I have 48. You can do 48 times 2 or 48 plus 48, whatever you find is easiest. So 8 plus 8 is 16, carry the 1, 9. So then we have to do 96 plus 32 for our last part. I don't know what's going on here. 96 plus 32. All right, there we go. So 8 and then 12. So I have 128. So the lateral surface area is 128. Look at our units of measurement, inches squared. Okay, and I'm going to separate this again like I did earlier. Now we have to do total surface area. So we have to go back and find the area of our bases. Well, it's a triangular prism, So the shape of the base is a triangle. So I have to use, for D and E, I have to do 1/2 base times height. So I'm going to take a look at those numbers. I see that my base is 4 and then my height is 3.5. So I'm going to use those numbers in my formula. And luckily for triangular prisms, both bases have the same area, because otherwise it wouldn't fold up correctly. So I'm going to put 1/2, the base is 4, and the height is 2.5? Nope, 3.5. Let's try that again. 3.5. Okay, so I'm going to just half 4, and I get 2. And then 2 times 3.5. So 3.5 plus 3.5 gives us 7. So the area of D is 7, just like E is 7. So the area of the two bases would be 14. Again, to find total surface area, you're going to take your answer from lateral surface area. So we're going to do 128, and then we're going to add 14. And we get 2, carry the 1, 4, and then 1. So it's 142 inches squared. All right, good job finding surface area of prisms.